Welcome to the Global Pulse, a short video series where our experts break down a trending topic in international business and why it matters to you.
This past weekend, the Washington Post had an editorial saying that Bolsonaro, Brazil's president, is a threat to democracy. The Guardian newspaper from UK also had an editorial talking about Bolsonaro as a threat to the world because of his mismanagement of COVID in Brazil. So situation is quite complex in the country, and these arguments that Bolsonaro is a threat to democracy, they are there since 2018, before the elections. Steven Levitsky, one of the major political scientists in the world, had made those claims that Bolsonaro was a threat to Brazilian democracy, and he was elected, and he has been trying to kind of concentrate power in his hands through multiple ways. But the good news, at least, is that Brazilian institutions are working so far, and they have been able to limit his power. So this past week he had to change 6 ministers, so his cabinet, and that was mostly based to political pressures from the Senate and the House of Representatives. So I will concentrate here on one specific cabinet change that was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, which is equivalent to the Secretary of State in U.S. And that's an interesting case for people that follow the Global Pulse and think about the impacts of globalization in the world. So one interesting thing about the previous minister that was, well, he quit, but he would be fired last week, is that he was against globalization. So think about a Minister of Foreign Affairs that is against globalization. That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So, and he had a very strong approach, and he thought that globalization was destroying countries' identities, and he, for some time, he had some support, but when COVID came, think about the need for global coordination that comes with COVID. I mean, vaccines, Brazil is producing its own vaccines, but they need the active component coming from China, from India, or from other countries. So you need a lot of, that's one instance where globalization is there to help you. You need connections with other countries, you need to cooperate, you need to negotiate, and that was basically that was not the focus of the Brazil foreign affairs area during the past 2 years. So now it has changed, and Brazil's diplomacy tradition has been very good. I mean, Brazil has a very good cadre of diplomats that they are very different from what what they defend is very different from what the minister was defending. So I think now situation will probably be much better in terms of this global coordination, and Brazil coming back to play some role in international institutions as well. For the past 2 years, Brazil has been very isolated from the international conversations on climate change and other important topics. So Brazil was usually the rebel child that wanted to do things differently. So hopefully now there will be a better coordination with global institutions, and this anti-globalization stance will not be there anymore. Just to finalize, situation in Brazil in the next year or so, there is still the threat of Bolsonaro being impeached, and that's why he's trying to negotiate with Congress, with politicians, to preserve his power. So the elections in Brazil next year, Bolsonaro might still be there as one of the important candidates, but there are viable alternatives that suggest that maybe his term will end next year, which I think is a good news, not only to Brazil, but to the whole world.